Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, August 13th, 2018. I am Super Derek, and this is your JRPG Weekly Update. Starting with the headline that was submitted to us by DuoBeard and Sam Strawbridge on Twitter. By the way, if you have news that you would like to have covered on the show, please tweet them to me at SuperDerekRPGs with the hashtag SuperDerekNews to receive the credit. Now, the lead story for today comes from Square Enix, which has been on Twitter teasing some possible rumblings within the Bravely series. On the heels of Octopath Traveler selling over 1 million copies, this is on the official Bravely Default Twitter. They published a picture which it had all the characters from Bravely Default, and it said like 1 million sales, and then it was casting a shadow on a wall that looked very similar to a certain fairy from the Bravely Default series. This has caused a lot of people to hope and believe that maybe they are getting some Switch ports of the Bravely 1 and 2 games, which would be fantastic. I'm really one of those people who hopes that it happens to be the case. However, they've also changed their Twitter handle from Bravely Default to Bravely Blank, which to me would indicate that we're looking at a game with a potential new title altogether, which could still be on the Switch, but I'm guessing it might be something more like a Bravely Third. So, knock on wood, that's going to be pretty interesting, and that's going to be something really great for us all to enjoy once we're all done with Octopath Traveler and the upcoming Dragon Quest XI. In some not-so-great news, a leaked letter of intent appears to hint that Obsidian Entertainment, notable for their work on Fallout New Vegas and Knights of the Old Republic 2, and many more, are looks like they're going to be purchased by Microsoft, which is terrible news for everybody who loves RPGs and doesn't plan on getting an Xbox, which, in my experience talking to RPG fans, that Venn diagram is pretty close to just being a circle. But, you know, I'm sure there are some people out there who love RPGs and went with Xbox. If you are one of those people who chose to go exclusively with Xbox this generation and love RPGs, tell me in the comments below, do you regret your decision, or are things working out pretty well for you? I'm legitimately curious, because it seems like 90% of RPGs that we're getting are coming out on PlayStation 4 and Switch, and I feel like I have no reason to buy an Xbox One, except for like a very small selection of exclusive titles, like maybe Cuphead, but that's not even an RPG. But anyways, I want to hear what you guys think. So down in the comments below, if you have an Xbox One, how many RPGs do you play on it? Moving along though, into some bizarre news. A 14-year-old high school student has actually sent Earthbound into space. That's right, Earthbound was no longer bound to Earth. Her. I'm sure I'm the first person to make that joke. But this is pretty interesting. This is actually through a crowdfunded company called the Sky Calculus Group. I guess what makes this really cool is that there is that whole 10-minute video about that. You can go and watch that right now. And all I can really say is that this is probably the most Earthbound thing to happen to a cartridge of Earthbound. It's just so bizarre and off the wall that it completely deserves to happen to Earthbound, I think. At QuakeCon, 3 members of Bethesda software team have put on a bit of a Q&A session, which sought to address a lot of the concerns that fans and detractors from Fallout 76 might have. And well, that came out yesterday, and I watched the whole thing because as someone who considers themselves maybe a little bit of a detractor, I'm feeling like most of my fears are confirmed and assuaged. So I'm not going to go over too much of the game of the conference, but suffice it to say, there are not going to be NPCs dispensing quests. There's not an overall story being told to the player that you would normally see in an RPG like Fallout 4 or 5, though Todd Howard did double down on calling this an RPG, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt here. An RPG in which all the people that you're interacting with are going to be other people. We'll see how well that works out. I mean, it works really well in Dungeons and Dragons, right? But who's the dungeon master here? So those concerns were definitely confirmed. A lot of fears surrounding griefing and the PvP aspect of the game have been, in my opinion, in my perspective, assuaged. Worst case scenario, even if this isn't an RPG, it's probably going to be pretty fun to play. So yeah, I think that I will probably play this. Maybe I'll play it with some patrons or something. Also, when the game comes out, it's going to be launching on Bethesda's own internal distribution network rather than Steam, which is kind of interesting. And all of your progress that you make during the beta will carry over once the game fully goes live. Quite a little bit of news about Fallout 76 this week. And lastly, in news, a demo of Valkyria Chronicles 4 is actually now available on all consoles and will allow players to transfer their data to the full version on launch, which is going to be on September 25th of this year. As for new games that have been announced and new ports being announced, Megadimension Neptunia VIIR is going to be getting a Steam port. Megadimension Neptunia is an RPG that you can play in VR. It's in the Neptunia series. It's getting some quality of life improvements that will help differentiate it from console versions, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. The HD remake of the Nintendo DS The World Ends With You, titled The World Ends With You Final Remix, will be launching on the Nintendo Switch on October 12th of this year here in the United States. And Persona 3 Dancing in Moonlight and Persona 5 Dancing in Starlight will be launching this year on December 4th. This is, of course, a sequel to Persona 4 Dancing All Night. And now it's time for Super Derek's Week in Review. Wednesday of last week, I talked about 9 games that you should play after playing Octopath Traveler. But you know what? If you want to play them before Octopath Traveler, that would also work. You know, this list of games is specifically curated for fans who were introduced to RPGs after a long while. This is a list of maybe some of the greatest hits or some of the greatest matches for the Octopath Traveler gameplay and visual style. I had a lot of fun putting the list together. If you have games that you think people should play, you should definitely go over there and leave that down in the comments. On Friday, I wrapped up the Summer of Suikoden with the review of Suikoden 5, which was a return to form for the Suikoden series on the PlayStation 2. As far as mainline numbered Suikoden titles go, I am so glad that it went out on a bang, you know, on a high note. It was a lot of fun to play, and I recommend you check out that review for more details. And I've been getting a lot of questions about this, so next year for the Summer of Suikoden, I hope to be able to play through Tear Cries. The main thing that is keeping me from being able to do that is being able to capture Nintendo DS footage. So, knock on wood, I hope maybe this time next year I'll have some method of doing so. And on Friday night's Nuzlocke Challenge, I took on Silphco Tower and looked to rematch Giovanni. You could say we've got a little bit of history, so this time it was personal, taking him on. Go check that out to see how I did. It was a lot of fun. And this last little bit is something that I haven't necessarily done yet, but it's something that I'm really leaning toward doing. But I want your feedback, guys. Do you watch Super Derek streams? And if you do, would you watch them over on Twitch instead? As that seems to be where probably the bigger audience is and probably the better financial opportunity for this channel for streaming goes. I'm really curious, though, how much overlap is there between YouTube viewers and Twitch viewers? Anyways, guys, now it's time for the upcoming RPGs of this week, and we've got a couple. We've actually got a few that might make people happy on every console, starting with Death's Gambit, which is a 2D side-scrolling action RPG Souls-like game that's being made by Adult Swim Games. Now, it's coming out on the PlayStation 4 and on PC on August 14th. That's just tomorrow, actually. And also Cosmic Star Heroine, which is a gorgeous 2D Japanese-style RPG, is coming out on Nintendo Switch on August 14th. And for those who don't want to wait or don't have a Switch, it's already available on PlayStation 4 and Vita and Steam. And then lastly, Fernz Gate, a JRPG, is coming to the Xbox One on August 15th, and this game is already available on the Nintendo Switch. Thank you so much. I definitely want all of your feedback about your ownership of Xbox One and how you feel about the possible Obsidian acquisition, and also really curious about how you feel about my moving my streams over to Twitch, potentially exclusively. Definitely let me know your feedback, and I am Super Derek, and this was news to me.